Grug knows two cave people. The first cave person has the biggest cave in the valley. It's decorated with the finest furs and features the newest cave sled, upgraded every 2 years. They throw the most impressive feasts. Everyone in the tribe talks about how rich this cave person must be. The second cave person lives in a modest cave, nothing special. They've used the same cave sled for 8 years. They rarely throw feasts, and when invited to one, they often don't go. Nobody in the tribe thinks much about this person's finances at all. In fact, some quietly assume they must not be doing that well, given how plainly they live. Grug gets to know both of these cave people better over time. The first cave person, the impressive one, Grug learns, owes teeth to nearly everyone. The big cave was bought with borrowed teeth, and most of the payment each season goes toward interest. The newest cave sled is also borrowed. The feasts are borrowed too. Paid for with a promise to repay later, a promise that gets renewed every season because it's never actually repaid. If this cave person stopped earning tomorrow, within a few weeks, everything visible would have to be returned or sold. And what would remain is very little, possibly less than zero. The second cave person, the unremarkable one, Grug learns, has been quietly setting aside a portion of earnings for over a decade. They own the modest cave outright, no debt. They have a growing collection of productive assets that Grug can't see just by looking. Shares in successful hunting operations and lending arrangements that pay interest. If this cave person stopped earning tomorrow, the assets alone could sustain their current lifestyle for many years, possibly indefinitely. Grug sits with this for a long time. The cave person everyone calls rich has almost nothing. The cave person nobody thinks about has substantial wealth. Today Grug explains the actual difference between rich and wealthy, two words the tribe uses interchangeably, that describe almost opposite financial realities. Let Grug define both terms precisely because precision matters here. Rich describes income and spending, what flows in and what flows out, visible in the moment. A cave person can be rich by having high income or by spending as though they have it, regardless of what's actually flowing in. Wealthy describes net worth, what's accumulated, what's owned outright, minus what's owed. It's a snapshot of position, not flow. The formula for net worth is simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. Cave, cave sled, investments, savings, all the assets, added together. Then subtract all debts, mortgage loans, anything owed. What's left is net worth. This single number is the only number that actually answers the question, how wealthy is this cave person? And it is almost never visible from the outside. Here's why rich and wealthy can be inversely related, and often are. High income enables high spending. A cave person earning a great deal has the cash flow to support an expensive cave and expensive sled. This is through either direct purchase or, more commonly, through debt that high income makes serviceable. But supporting expensive things through debt means those things appear on both sides of the net worth formula as assets and as liabilities. The big cave is an asset, but the mortgage on it is a liability of similar size. The new cave sled is an asset, but the loan on it often exceeds the sled's actual resale value the moment it's used. Meanwhile, a cave person with more modest income, but who allocates a meaningful portion to ownership of productive assets, steadily builds the owned side. Over time, these two paths diverge dramatically. The high spender's net worth can remain near zero or even negative despite years of high income. The modest but consistent saver's net worth compounds steadily, even on far less income. Now Grug addresses something that surprised Grug deeply. High earners are often among the worst at building wealth, not the best. This seems backwards. More income should mean more capacity to build wealth. And in pure mathematical terms, it does. Higher income provides more raw material to work with. But Grug finds a pattern. repeated across many cave people. As income rises, spending rises to match it, often exceeding it through debt. This is sometimes called lifestyle inflation, and it's powerful precisely because each increase feels justified, even modest, in the moment. A promotion brings a slightly bigger cave. A bonus brings an upgraded sled. A raise brings more frequent feasts. None of these individual decisions feels reckless. Each one is a reasonable seeming response to "I can afford this now." But the cumulative effect, repeated across years, is that the gap between income and spending, the gap that could become savings, never widens. The cave person earning 3 times what they earned a decade ago may have a net worth barely different from a decade ago, because spending also roughly tripled. Grug's earlier video explained that crossing from labor income to asset ownership is what matters for long-term financial position. Lifestyle inflation is the single biggest obstacle to making that crossing because it consumes the very capacity that would otherwise fund it. This is why Grug has met cave people earning an enormous income who are by net worth in a worse position than cave people earning a fraction of that, because the entire gap between income and spending was consumed, often through debt that exceeds it. Now Grug describes the pattern researchers have found when actually studying wealthy cave people directly, rather than assuming wealth based on appearances. This pattern is sometimes called stealth wealth, and it shows up consistently. Many cave people with substantial net worth live in ways that don't visually signal it. Modest caves, often owned outright rather than mortgaged to the maximum. Cave sleds kept for many years rather than upgraded frequently. Spending that from the outside looks unremarkable, sometimes even frugal. This isn't universal. Some wealthy cave people do live visibly lavish lives, particularly those with very high incomes that comfortably cover both high spending and high savings. But among cave people whose wealth came primarily through saving and investing, over time the stealth pattern is extremely common. The mechanism is straightforward. Every tooth not spent on visible status is a tooth available to compound. Over decades, the cave person optimizing for net worth ends up with more net worth because more was directed toward the asset side of the formula. Grug wants to be careful here. This isn't a moral argument that spending on visible things is bad or that everyone should live as frugally as possible. Some cave people genuinely value visible signals of status, comfort, or experience, and choose to prioritize spending accordingly. That's a legitimate choice. But Grug thinks it's important that the choice be made knowingly. Many cave people pursue looking rich while believing they're simultaneously building wealth. The teeth spent on the bigger cave, the newer sled, the more frequent feasts, those are, mathematically, teeth not available for the asset side. Now, what is Grug actually optimizing for, having learned this difference? Grug isn't choosing poverty or extreme frugality. That's a different mistake. Grug is choosing to make the trade-off consciously, with savings treated as non-negotiable and automatic, as discussed in the budgeting video. Within wants, Grug now evaluates each major spending decision. Is this purchase moving Grug toward looking rich or toward being wealthy? Sometimes the answer is looking rich, and that's fine. I value this, a meaningful experience or a home that genuinely improves daily life. Grug's summary. Rich describes income and spending, visible, immediate, and easily supported by debt regardless of actual financial position. Wealthy describes net worth, assets minus liabilities, and is almost never visible from the outside. These can be inversely related. Lifestyle inflation, spending rising to match income, is the primary reason high earners often fail to build wealth proportional to their income. The cave person everyone called rich had almost nothing. The cave person nobody noticed had everything that actually compounds. Grug knows which one Grug wants to be. And now Grug knows it's actually a choice, not a coincidence. Next video. Grug discovers economic indicators like GDP and unemployment rate. Grug breaks down what these numbers actually tell you. Do not miss it.